When it comes to creating custom brands, it is so important that you take your time in the initial phase of the project to not only find some inspiration for the brand, but also to understand how you're going to take what the clients told you and bring it into real life in such a unique way. So when I talk about that first phase of the branding, this is what I like to call my discovery and direction phase. I call it this because it is when I am taking a deep dive to get on the same page with the client with the overall visual direction. So part of this phase is searching for inspiration. I like to do this in the first phase, and I don't like to look back on it because, as you guys probably know, if I were to go searching in Pinterest as I'm designing the logo, or even as I'm kind of finalizing the logo, I would get so overwhelmed with other ideas and kind of not to like what I created. So I like to do this in the beginning so I don't get distracted when I actually go and create an awesome brand. I thought about this recently because we're currently planning for our micro wedding in May this year, and I love to search on Pinterest for some fun like wedding ideas and how to make it feel really unique. But I can see how overwhelming it gets, and one of my photographers that I've been talking to, she told me once you know what you like, I recommend not going back into Pinterest because it can start to get so overwhelming. You'll question everything you've already decided on. So that's the same approach I take in my branding. Once I decide on the page we're going to go down and also the direction that me and the client like, I don't want to look backwards. So the inspiration phase in the beginning is so important. Okay, now that's enough with what I wanted to mention about the inspiration, but I want to share with you guys in this video 5 websites that you can use to go searching for some really great inspiration for your branding, packaging, website designs, and more. I'm not going to share with you guys those typical websites that all of us designers use, which is Pinterest, Dribbble, Behance, all of those. Those are great and I still use them, but I wanted to give you some other options that maybe you haven't heard about before and that I think have really great resources. The first one is called Logo Lounge. I love this website because they have a really awesome page that talks about trends. But I just think knowing the trends and kind of what's going on in the design world is fun to do as a designer. I don't think it's totally necessary to know the trends and what's going on because I always am a big advocate in staying true to what you really like. However, I do like to go into those trend reports of every year just to get an idea of what you call specific logo types. There's so much terminology around logos, and I actually give you guys a full terminology worksheet in my Logo Design Simplified course, but there's so much terminology. It would take years and years to understand it all. And when I go into those logo design trends on the Logo Lounge website, I'm able to learn different styles and see kind of the different ideas out there. And I think it's just such a great website for inspiration. So if you haven't checked that out, I recommend going and looking at it. I feel like my design type still falls in the 2022 year of design trends, and I'm totally okay with that. I feel like trends come and go, and I want to stick true to what I really like, but it's really interesting to see what those different trends are called and the different logo design approaches that you can take. But besides the trends, they have a huge database where you can search different logo styles and colors and so much more. Okay, the next website is so important for those of us who love typography. Typography is what truly makes a brand stand out. There's some brands that only use a unique typography. They don't use a bunch of elements and stuff like that. And that's because fonts alone can tell a story. And that's why I love this website. It is called Fonts in Use. I will have all these linked down below. But this website is awesome because it shows you real world applications of how they're using different font styles. They tell you the name of the fonts, and it's really helpful to see these fonts in use. Don't get me wrong, I love going and scrolling through Creative Market. I could do that for hours. However, I'm not really able to see or visualize how that font will look in a real life form, and it can sometimes take hours and hours to understand like what font will work for the brand. But when you're able to look at these in the real world applications and see how people are using the fonts, it's so helpful to understand which font will work for which client. So I love this website. I think it gives you such great inspiration on how to really take advantage of how powerful a typography can be. Okay, now this next website is so fun to scroll through, especially for those of you who want to get into more packaging design. It's something that I've always wanted to tap into more, but it's such a unique niche. And even if you don't want to niche down to a specific like client type or industry, you could even niche down to packaging, because there's such a need for package designers. I mean, think about when you order something from a brand, like specifically from that brand, they usually deliver it in such a unique package and make it feel really branded. And I think that just really gives a full experience of a brand. So this website will really help you if you need some inspiration on packaging design ideas. This website is called Packaging of the World. It's awesome. It just is just as it sounds. You're able to search different packaging ideas all across the world, and I think it just gives you some great inspiration on how to display something and not just have it slapped onto like a bag or a bottle. Like, you can actually make it look so artistic and so unique. And I know that when I was scrolling through this, I was just getting so inspired and excited to create something. And I really think you guys are going to love this website too. I also love this website for the ideas it gives me on how to showcase a brand. So it not only has like packaging design ideas, but you can also see how they're using like unique mock-ups and photography to make the brand feel even more alive. And I just love that. It always inspires me when I see how other designers are presenting their work. Okay, this next website is super fun for anyone who is looking for inspiration. This one really has all your bases covered, whether you're looking for like branding inspiration or maybe some brand books to read, or even just like logos and things that you want to get more specific on. And this website is called bpando.org. Like I said, I'll have all these linked down below. But this website's so cool because you're able to search logo ideas based on like the category. So if you're designing a logo for a coffee shop, you're able to look at logos related to coffee. You're also able to look at like packaging design related to coffee. Same with like fast food or food related items. You're able to search by those specific categories. They also update the website frequently with their blog and just really great design inspiration. You can really see some talented designers in there and what they're creating. So definitely don't skip on this website. I think you guys are really, really going to like it. I know you're going to like all of these, but this one specifically has such great inspiration in there, so many great ideas, and I know that I'm going to be bookmarking it to reference for my future projects. Okay, the next one I want to mention is for those of you who are struggling with color palettes. Color palettes are definitely another huge part of branding. I know I talked about typography, but color palettes also make a brand. So when it comes to picking the colors, it can be a little bit tricky on like where to start. I mean, there's hundreds and thousands and millions of colors to choose from, and like different shades of colors and different ideas of colors, and yeah, it can be overwhelming. But with websites like this, it can help you see like what those colors will look like when they're combined together. It's been something I've been learning a lot more about this year, is how colors work together, and also making sure that your color palette has great contrast to it. I think sometimes we can just throw colors together just because they look pretty, but you want to make sure these colors not only work together, that when they're combined, they look good, and just overall they speak to what the brand is all about. So it's very important. But this website that I'm going to mention will really help you out. It does a lot of color palettes based on nature, and that website is called Design Seeds. So if you're stuck on any color palette ideas and you're kind of tired of looking through Pinterest, give this website a shot. I think they have some great colors in there. Even if you're just looking for like one shade of like brown or yellow or something like that, you can pull some ideas from there, and I think you guys are really going to love it. Just love how they pull from like different photography pieces and nature, and they really look so beautiful and aesthetic, and they have so many to look at. Okay, I wanted to throw in a bonus website for you guys because I just feel like colors are so important. I don't want to skip out on giving you guys another idea of where to look for colors. And this website is called colorsinspo.com. It'll be linked down below. But this one's very similar to the one I just mentioned before this, but it's even more, they have even more tools on there. So if you want to like look at some articles or tips on like what makes a color palette actually like user friendly and have a good UX to it, then they have some really great tips on that. But they also have different examples of color palettes with a great contrast. And even just when I was looking through it, I'm like, dang, I wish I knew about this before my client projects that I just did, because there's some like shades of like greens and colors that I just love seeing different ideas for, and this website has so many of them. So be sure to check it out. I just also love all their tips on colors, and I think I'm going to pull a lot of those ideas and keep them in mind when I'm working on my branding projects. Okay, so those are all the websites I wanted to mention in this video. I have so many more that I can share with you guys, so if you want to learn more about this, be sure to comment down below and let me know. But I hope this was helpful to you guys. I hope you guys bookmarked some of those. If you did, let me know which ones you liked and which ones you're going to check out, because I'm all about finding some new places to get inspired, because I love Pinterest. It's going to be my go-to probably forever, but I like to have some other ideas of things that aren't as overwhelming and don't have too many ideas to the point where you're confused and just stuck. So I really hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys want to learn more behind the scenes of how I bring a brand to life, how I bring a website to life, then be sure to go check out my Patreon. I post in there every single week. I also have a Discord for those circle members, and it's so fun to chat with you guys every single day and get to know you better. So be sure to check that out. I always have that link down below, as well as all the links I mentioned. But thank you guys so much for watching. I'm gonna go hang out with Leo now, edit this video, and I will talk to you guys in my next one.